Here on Bridge City News, we are making time for candidates in the upcoming municipal election to be heard on the issues that matter to them. Tevi Legge is a tech founder and entrepreneur with an extensive background in banking and technology. She has tossed her hat into the ring, vying for a seat on Lethbridge City Council. Tevi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So obviously you've got years as an entrepreneur. What really drew you into wanting to get into the political arena?
Yeah, so I've always had an interest in politics and like just learning and understanding how it all works at not just a municipal level, but at a provincial level and a federal level. And I have also taken an interest into what's going on in the United States because I think that impacts the rest of the world. But to be honest with you, what really drew me in was I have 3 kids, and what I really want is I want to see my kids want to stay in Lethbridge, build and grow their families here. I want my grandkids to live here. And so for me, it was just about making the city a place where there's lots of opportunity for people to stay and live and, you know, continue to grow and build families here.
So now in recent years, you were named one of Lethbridge's top 40 under 40 and one of Alberta's top 60 she innovators. So what are some of the big issues for you?
You know, when I think about what matters the most to me and what resonates with me, there's a few things. So I think one of them is safety and security. So just ensuring that we can continue to build a really safe and secure city for future generations to come. The other thing is transparency, and when I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but when I say the word transparency, what I actually mean is translating policy, bylaws, whatever it might be, into something that the general population can understand. So I think it goes beyond just being transparent about what's happening in municipal government, but it also goes into really translating that into something that people can understand and how that impacts them and what that means for them.
So you mentioned safety. What do we need to do to make Lethbridge more safe?
I don't know all the answers for that for sure. I think there needs to be more conversation with our taxpayers to understand what their concerns are and what they think we should be doing to make the city a safer place. But I do think that there's opportunity to just have more of a thriving downtown area that people feel safe to come to, that becomes more of a destination spot for people versus, I guess, what it is today.
Right, because it sounds like we have made some steps in the right direction with making downtown more safe as well. But what are some of the issues that the current council may frustrate you?
I think, I mean, there's the one hot topic that comes to mind, which is the exhibition center. So I think, and there's so much detail that goes behind things like that. And I think before you can make assumptions, you need to fully understand those details behind those things. But using that as an example, I really think that that's where transparency matters and long-term planning matters. And I think creating better scenarios for long-term planning where we understand what's going to create lasting value for the city is really, really important.
Now, in addition to running for council, you've got your fingers in many business ventures. You're also a mom.
I'm a mom, yeah.
So tell us, what does that balancing act look like? And if elected, how would you continue to maintain that balance? Because obviously, like, burnout could easily hit you.
And I've actually been burnt out before, so like I'm very familiar with that. But you know what they say, always, if you want to get something done, give it to the busiest person. And so I definitely have a kind of like a get stuff done attitude where I'm really more focused on execution versus, you know, planning and strategy and kind of getting lost in that atmosphere. But when it comes to balance, I think it's a give and take. I don't really subscribe to balance because I do think that there's going to be times where I'm going to be required to be more involved with the city, where I might be making sacrifices with my family. or I'm going to be doing something as a tech founder for my company and have to make other sacrifices. And so I think for me, it's just about really understanding the give and take, understanding what's important to me, staying aligned with my values, because I firmly believe that burnout comes when you're living a life that's really misaligned with your values. And so staying aligned to those values in everything that I'm doing and making sure that I'm doing those things on purpose.
Right, because whenever I speak with entrepreneurs, it sounds like they're very married to their businesses, and you've got multiple businesses. But then, as a city councillor, you're also married to the city, so that would be quite the juggling act for you, would it not?
And I'm married to my husband.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and so that as well, right? But I have had many conversations with the city about the commitment, and it was really interesting for me to learn that, some city councillors put in more time than others, and I think it just comes down to being committed to it and putting in the time that's required to make a difference for our city.
And you've also dipped your toes into the podcasting world, so tell us about that.
Yeah, it actually started with when I was burnt out. So it started as a podcast that was really focused on burnout, and mostly women. So most of my guests ended up being women. That wasn't done on purpose. It naturally kind of just happened. And so I think I interviewed over 37 women across Canada who have actually experienced burnout themselves in all different types of jobs and industries, and then it actually kind of naturally started to evolve, and so it's now called A Leg Up, a play on words with my last name.
Nice.
But we talk about all different things. So technology, we talk about business, we talk about politics, we still talk about burnout. It comes up quite often. So yeah, that's kind of where that's at.
All right. So Tevi, as you're running, what is your message to voters, and why do you feel that you would represent Lethbridge on City Council? Yeah,
I think my message to voters is I am just like you. I'm a member of the tax-paying base of Lethbridge City, and my ask would be, if you want to better understand where your tax dollars are going, if you want a safer, more secure city, and if you want to really generate lasting value for our city and for generations to come, then our values might be aligned, and I would ask for your vote.
Great, excellent. And then let's just use a little bit of the remaining time just to go into some specifics, or some hot button issues in the city.
Yeah.
Obviously, crime is a big problem here, but more recently, the talk of the need for a third bridge has been coming up a lot lately, and we just have been recently having this perfect storm of construction and on Whoop Up, and then the trailer going underneath Whoop Up and causing damage, and construction on Highway 3, and then followed by collisions on 3rd.
Yes.
So where are you at with the need for a third bridge?
I do think as Lethbridge continues to grow, the infrastructure to support that growth is going to be critically important. And so I don't have enough detail to understand if a third bridge is required, but I think a study into that would be really valuable for the city to basically understand what is the turning point, what is that critical mass that will require that infrastructure to be in place for the city to continue to run smoothly. And then on the topic of transportation, do you feel that there needs to be better or more funding for Lethbridge Transit, or just to upscale more of our public transit system? Yeah, I think some further investment in public transit, so that people feel, that they can rely on that as well, versus maybe always having to drive and getting across the bridge and creating more traffic that way. Maybe longer hours for public transit for people that are, working late and need to get a ride home. I think investment in transit is always really important, and should be part of that infrastructure conversation.
And I think as people work longer hours, or maybe take on a second or even a third job just to kind of maintain their standard of living, or just pay their bills, then we would need to scale up Lethbridge Transit as well.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to crime, do you have any ideas on how we can address our growing crime?
Yeah, I think the city's done a good job in really trying to make a difference in this space. I think it comes down to trying to solve for the root cause and not just solve for the symptoms of what's happening when we think about the crime. And that is a heavy lift that's going to take a lot of work. And we're going to need partners like the province and the federal government to really, I think, make a difference in that space. I think the city's doing a great job in trying to alleviate some of the symptoms of that crime, but I do think it comes back to solving for the root cause.
Tevi Legge is a tech entrepreneur. She is running for a seat on Lethbridge City Council in the October 20th municipal election. Tevi, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Naveen Day. On behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News, thanks for watching.